currently, though.
We're live.
Oh, speaking of which, yes. Welcome, lads, lasses, and NB badasses. I'm going to be busy as I'm going to be tweeting out the stream and all the various places. So just give me a second to do that. But let me say hello, comrades and fellow comrades. How's everyone doing? And as you can see on the Alchemy benches right now, just me, Simon Geek, and Isaiah Taylor and John Brockman. But Isaiah, you were and hey, Digital how you doing? Now, Isaiah, you were mentioned about my Askway to Steve Jobs last Friday, which is okay. I'll give you. So, for those who weren't there, my question to Steve Jobs, well, it's based off of a conversation I had with someone else before on the internet, this were, because my position is that I want to basically live in a society where people are able to, if they choose to be able to sit down and ask to do nothing but play video games all day, if they want to. But the reason why I kind of asked that to Steve, because apparently, hey Jordan P, how you doing? Because apparently, people don't want that. The crux is this person was saying that if we allow people to sit on our ass and play video games all day, and my whole point of that is there should be no such thing as the cost of living, because if we force people to work, then disabled people, as we have said time again on the show, have to work or prove that they're disabled beyond a reasonable shadow of doubt, apparently, or jump through so many hoops in order to do that, in order to just get money to be able to live. But so I want to push against that to go in the opposite direction. That just let people sit on us and do nothing but play video games all day if they want to, as it were. But apparently, by allowing people to do that, that will encourage them to do that, and thus the collapse of old society. Or if we did that in Neanderthal times, we never create languages, progress beyond Neanderthal times. We all go ooga boogas over that, which was the argument I received, and I just don't see the connection there. But it's this
Well, I mean,
go ahead, Isaiah.
well, I mean, I watched Star Trek, and clearly, their work, like on the ship, they work. I mean, they do things that. I mean, I just can't see myself staying at home and playing video games all day. That would just get boring too quickly.
But that's the thing. I agree with that. I bet that people would actually get tired of that at some point, as it were. But again, so long as that's your choice to do that, that's my biggest thing. It's so long as it's your choice to do that, great. Because I do believe that many people will choose to be productive, will choose to do some kind of work, will choose to do, even if it's cleaning up, even if it's janitorial work, even if it's again, it's people can definitely have hobbies, and it'd be great for people to have hobbies, honestly. But right now in this society, and you know this very well, that you are forced to have to work a job that you probably hate just because it's one that pays. And so I wanted I wanted to, if people want to just sit on our ass and do nothing but play video games all day, I want to be able to provide that, knowing that you know what, most likely some people will, but even if some people will, I'm okay with that, because I'd rather do that thing, pay 1,000 people to sit on our ass and playing video games all day, than to let one family go starving. Because currently we have several people going starving today, going homeless, all because of capitalism.
Yeah, I just say good luck. Good luck trying to explain that to other people, because they'll might look at you funny.
Oh, I'll do it anyway. I don't care if I get to look funny. It's where I'll do it anyway. Hey, I will do that, because I would. The thing is, how this conversation started, it was on a friend's Twitch channel, as it were, and there is actually a rule on my friend's Twitch channel, and I'm mod for that, my friend too. So it's I should have followed this rule too. If no politics, that's where but it started organically, because someone just mentioned that hey, I'm feeling great, I just started my first day at work, stuff like that, and someone else said ew, work. To which I just agreed to that person. Yeah, I agree with you. Ew, work, as it were, because I'm anti-work. But the person was no, work's a great thing. And yeah, other people said this work's a great thing. And if people want to work, I'm not saying don't work. If you want to work, no, go ahead.
Having a vocation, doing something for the world is a good thing. Being forced to work is bad.
Well, it also depends. Well, it also depends on what you want too. Like, I would like to, like, for example, like, would I enjoy working at the Aviation Museum in Everett City, Washington, where the Boeing, the first 747 is located? Sure, to be a tour guide, absolutely. But I mean, I don't, like I could do a job like that, get paid for that, and then come home and do my YouTube stuff. I mean, I could see that happening for me
Well,
if that was.
well, okay, yeah, that's the thing. And Jojo P said, "I would love not to work and just do creative things like music, writing all day." Exactly. Hey, but here's the thing with this society, and many people have like uh, there's like a Venn diagram of like sometimes like a hey, this should be like a Venn diagram of like my skills, the things that are marketable, and then what I love doing, as it were. And if they can intersect into like the middle, as it were, then like you got the dream job, as it were. But oftentimes, what is marketable is not overlap with like what you want to do, as it were. And and sometimes they don't even overlap with one's skills. So it's like there's their skills, what is marketable, and what they want to do all day as three separate circles, as it were. But again, the whole idea of like what is marketable too is a problem as well, because like should people have to like sell their skills in order to like be able to live? Again, it all comes down to how under capitalism you need to work in order to pay rent, you need to work in order to buy food, you need to do all of that. And I want to like get rid of that system to it's like because that's a system of coercion. We're forced at the almost at the gunpoint. It's not literally gunpoint. Oh, sometimes it is. It's metaphorically gunpoint, because if we don't work a job, we'll be homeless. Again, my dad pointed to a homeless person as I was complaining about capitalism and said, "I bet he has a great life." So I want to like change society so that
Do you get along with your dad when you bring these views up? Do you guys get along, or do you
oh
guys like argue about them?
my dad just stops talking essentially. It's like and sometimes I will drop this. Sometimes I will actually drop the subject. This also came up like last night. So yesterday I went to see an anime movie. Afterwards, we had a conversation, and it took a while for the waitress to finally like serve us, as were. Basically, the waitress didn't realize that we were at one of her tables, as it were. So she apologized for that, and like the sodas we ordered were free. So there's that. But so I went to see anime with my oldest brother and two of his friends. Both are brothers, and both went to college with my oldest brother, and one of my brother's friend's daughter. Uh, and the father who is like is a fan of Joe Rogan and retell the Joe Rogan joke that features the F slur rhyme with mag. And I was there when that happened too. I didn't say anything though, or didn't say much. No, I did say anything. I did say something. He resented that there were women over there just like waitresses gossiping. It was Twin Peaks. It's kind of like Hooters, but not Hooters. It's just so like
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what
they wear short
Why
shorts
were you
and
at flannel t-shirts? Why were
yeah,
you
flannel.
at
That's what I'm looking
Twin
for.
Peaks though?
this because it was open. It was open. It was going to remain open until like 11 afterwards. But I know you're making a reference to a TV show I still have never seen.
No, I'm just saying. Sex work is real work, I guess, right?
Well, yes, exactly. But his problem was that women were all gossiping, as it were, and appears to not be working. And to the uncle, because the uncle was saying to the daughter, "Hey, don't be like them. Do not be like them. Don't just gossip endlessly at work when you're supposed to be working. Don't be like that." To which my oldest brother at least also said, "Come on, Jeremy. There are people that gossip, guys that gossip like that too." But the father said, like, if you're at a job, you have to work. I was pushing back against that somewhat, but I eventually just dropped the topic, as it were. So yeah, if I go on of my political positions of being anti-work and being a narco-syndicalist and a communist with either my father, my brother's friends, or even my oldest brother, he's like not as shitty and terrible as my younger brother, the Gamergator Trump supporter. But my oldest brother's still a liberal. And he said this one time when I again brought up the topic of like anarchism as it were, because it seemed like an Anarcho Society was featured in an episode of like Kiki's Delivery. No, not Kiki's Delivery Service. That's an awesome movie though. Kino's Journey. That's the show we were watching, because it was like a society with everything's done by direct democracy, but everyone participates in it. But also meaning, should we kill this person? If everyone puts in a vote and agreed to kill that person, they will kill that person. So, but I said, oh, this looks like an anarchist society. My oldest brother said, hey, listen, Jonathan, it can't work, because if we put all the free stuff in the middle of the room and one person takes all the stuff, what are you going to do about that? Well, you said free stuff. So like, what do you expect to happen if you say free and you're sad that like someone's going to take all the stuff in the middle of the room and something like that? But I just like said, why is that person take? I should have like a break. Should have said at the moment. Why is that person taking all the stuff anyway to begin with? Do they have a need that society's not fulfilling? Do they have a problem that society's not helping with? Or is it? And even if they do take all the stuff and decide that they need it, decide that they want it, are they being a jerk about it? Then don't work for that person. Don't give them the basics that they need to live. Don't give them any extras. And also, we can replenish the stuff. It's socialism. It's communism. We run the factories. We can replenish the stuff that's put in the center for need, as it were. But the indigenous heritage said, no one should have to like do anything to live. We build a world to provide for ourselves. Pretending some humans don't deserve what generations have built is some bullshit. And yes, Kitty.
Yeah.
My Jordan purposes, my dad's nothing like he's talking your ear off just as anything he says, even though he's like dead ass wrong. And hey, Phoenix, yes, I'll put the links into like Phoenix's GoFundMe into
Give Phoenix money.
Give Phoenix money. I also put a link to charity links page, even though it's in the description below. But yeah, I'll give I'll put the links into the description. Oh, no, not that one. Where is it? But you know, I don't think. And hello, David. How are you doing? But yeah, so I sometimes talk to my dad about my political positions. He doesn't talk back that much, though. But like, I ask him in emails, did you vote for Trump? Because I know that my dad has always been conservative and American conservative, in that like he never liked Bill Clinton because he raised his taxes, and that's really the only reson.
That was Bush Senior.
Well, yes, but like Bill Clinton, but he didn't like how Bill Clinton raised his taxes. Blah, whatever. But my dad did vote for George W.
Well, how was he able to tell that Clinton personally raised his taxes? That makes no sense.
The president always gets the blame.
Yes, exactly. No, Obama did raise some taxes, though, for sure. But like my dad voted for George W. Bush both times. So in 2004, even after like the Iraq War and stuff like that, and which the dad personally thinks that like war is necessary. There are times when war is necessary. So that's his position on Iraq War. I'm sure to like follow up and say it's like, okay, hey, hello, Mitchell. Okay, Dad, after the fact, knowing that we were lied to about WMDs, like we were lied in Vietnam, do you think war is like absolutely necessary? But I think
does he think this war in Ukraine is necessary?
He probably would actually, because unfortunately, a lot of people think that that's a messy situation in all regards.
So he's willing to risk nuclear war for Ukraine.
Unfortunately, there's no, like I said before.
The only good empire is the U.S. empire, and that's not an empire because it's good, and empires are bad.
Yeah.
Yes, David, I saw you in the chat, so I sighed. Yes, exactly. And yes, Phoenix does sell melons and peach picks, exactly. And the information is in the charity links page as well. OnlyFans. My dad, I did ask him if he voted.
Don't say OnlyFans.
Yeah, Phoenix has the OnlyFans. My dad did not vote for Trump, but he doesn't want to discuss who he voted for, and he doesn't want to continue having this like political conversations with me. I know from my older sibling about like how those conversations turn. I think I won't give any more details, but I will say this: that my older sibling doesn't talk to my father, and my older sibling, as in the one that lives in Oregon. Yeah, because as yep. I guess the other detail I would say loan of college money as we're in my old sibling promised to pay it back, but and so yeah, I guess my dad doesn't like the idea of being taken advantage of as well. So when he knows about like how much money I give to people, to be fair to him, and also, oh, you're locked out your OnlyFans? Oh, damn. That sucks.
How'd that happen?
I watch OnlyFans.
The watch OnlyFans? I guess you can. I guess the OnlyFans could provide you.
Oh,
Okay. Okay. Yeah, no problem. But it's like, yeah, so I could talk to my dad about politics, but it just won't, like, maybe he'll ask after a while for me to, like, not talk about it as much. My mom, I know, is not interested in it. So it's out of respect. I just don't go on about politics. Cat food and vegan talk about this by itself. Yes, absolutely. Unfortunately, in this world. But that's why I'm for like gotta be able to provide people to be able to live. But to a conservative mindset, and then the Phoenix has a Tumblr, so I'll go to like their Tumblr to like for the horny posts. But it's like, so where was I going? Yeah, conservatives seem to like think that like if people were able to sit on us to do nothing all day, like we encourage that to do that. I see. Yes, that kind of like a horny post. Yes, exactly. Hey, if we encourage people to do that, all of society would collapse. Which I just challenged those like conservatives. Okay, let's do that then. Let's collapse society. Which in a way I kind of am for because I'm a revolutionist, but only because I want to collapse the capitalism of the state and white supremacist, central, owl, patriarchal, ableist, settler, colonialist.
Yeah, back. Let me get some.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, guys.
All right.
yeah. I mean, let's be honest. They're not conservatives. They're fascists. And I think their worldview is that people are fundamentally bad and they don't deserve to live.
Pretty much, yeah.
And
I wouldn't say that though.
No, they wouldn't. That would be asking honesty from them. No, never going to happen. But I think that's just where they start from, and thus you have to. It's baked into the Christian worldview that they have. I don't think that Christianity is where it starts from. I think it starts from them, and then they bring it into the Christianity. That people just don't deserve to live. They have to work to prove that they deserve anything at all. The bare minimum.
Yeah. Is see Mitchell saying that like the prime minister of his country is like compared to people of Ukraine fighting for the country to voting for Brexit. Oh.
No, because Ukraine wants to join NATO, not leave NATO.
Yes, I think they also got the offer to join the EU too, and it's just like, yes, exactly, as David Scott just said. So, well, is Alexander Boris Defeffel Johnson, and he loves to play up the fact that he's a buffoon a lot of times. So I wonder he was like that was like part of this thinking behind that too. So. Let's see what are some of the on the docket on the news items I'll mention. Want to bring up. Okay, hey, I'll bring up this item. One of the headlines from like Democracy Now. Apparently, that like we're going to have a new head of the coronavirus task force for the White House. Jeff Zitz, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, is like he's stepping down as word. He got like criticism because like he like failed to make a rapid antigen test and ND5 a mask widely available and affordable to the public, and also he wasn't he didn't like help or he hurt the ability for the U.S. and other rich countries to like expand vaccine supplies to meet global needs. Apparently, like the former guy that stepped down now was also big in supporting like the big pharma and that sort of thing. So we've got a new guy in head of the coronavirus task force. Let's see how well that goes.
Probably
It's
not
time
very
to-
well.
Yeah, probably not. America, even under Democrats, they're kind of like the coronavirus. What's that? No. You don't have to wear masks. You don't have to like go outside. You still have to wear masks to go on buses though, and public transportation. You just
I still can't.
Mhm.
I still can't believe my governor here in Florida was so freaked out about kids wearing masks.
That's right. That did
But-
happen.
But the weird thing about that though is like he was in the military. It's like, are you telling me you can't wear a mask, but you were in the military?
There's no logic in
How
his brain.
tough are you?
Or the logic is like his oppression or like his power, and he's like putting up to his base of like the anti-maskers as word. So he has to like be offended by people wearing masks in that instance in order to like please his base as word. Maybe I don't know if he's a true believer in that or not, but but I bet that like he's a true believer that that's his base and that's his audience and that's who he's playing to. At least believe that.
Yeah, it's true. I call him Ron Desalinate because he's full of salt. He needs to be desalinated.
Let's see. Oh, you know,
Putin is still an asshole.
Mhm.
well, yes, Putin is still an asshole, but he learned from America. He learned how to like to invade a foreign country.
I learned it by
uninvaded.
watching you.
Yes, exactly. Because like look at what we did to Iraq, and that's pretty much what Putin's doing to Ukraine right now. But like, however, the rest of the world did view us as the war criminals, Dick Cheney and George W. Bush for sure for Iraq. It's just like we were the big guns and we came out on top in a way, or at least still the big guns. And like, even though it was like a complete debacle, mission accomplished. We can do it, but like,
Yes.
but like, and yet, like the rest of the global world also did not sanction us as a word. That right now, which is like Marty Anthony mentioned in yesterday's Tea Party as well. That's why they're against like the boycott, divest, and sanctions as a word in for Israel, because like that will hurt Israel, and Israel is a settler colonial project that is a baby of the United States as well as the UK. And so there's like a constant effort to like in like academia as it were to like silence people or cancel people as it were who like are supportive of like BDS, the boycott, divest, and sanction against Israel, because right now what's happening to
I always
Russia.
thought
Go ahead.
when people say BDS, I just want to add the L to the end of that.
As a BDSM.
Yeah.
Boycott,
No,
okay,
divest,
so he-
sanction,
so-
and something else.
Masochism.
No, here's the reason why the Republican Party is so pro-Israel, especially like people like down in the South, because there's this nonsense in the Bible called the second coming of God,
Yeah.
or something, or Jesus,
Mhm.
and it's important that we help Israel like stave off the Muslims. I don't know. It's so stupid. I don't know.
No,
And
That's-
like and because they think Israel is going to be where the end of the world happens, so we got to support Israel, so Jesus can come and rapture all the people to heaven. And it's so stupid. I can't even finish talking about it because it's so stupid. But
well, but that they do actually believe that as well, which is why many Republicans and fascists do support of Israel. Also, part of the reason they support Israel is like a ethno state as well. Now, some of the fascists like hate that as the ethno for Jews, of course, but they love that like in proof of concept. Basically, it's an ethno nationalist state, and they want that for themselves, for white people. But again,
well, so is
like,
Russia. Russia's an ethno Russians are like, if Russia was a Republican state, it would be deeply Republican.
Well, yeah. Vocab can actually attest to that because of the anti-gay laws that they have, and like a thing. Some and the people do have
Russia is
like the
basically
gay.
the Oklahoma of Europe.
Yes, exactly, and there's definitely Orthodox. Okay, but remember, half of Oklahoma has been returned to the indigenous people of that land, which, as Joey mentioned before, when I brought it up before, that no, that's going to be that's being challenged in courts too, even though it's the Supreme Court that ruled that, but it's going to continue to be challenged because, yeah, the white people there like to think that they still own the place. That's where,
and they get to do whatever they want.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because as Joey said, and it was right, because since that was the case in Oklahoma, that they have to honor those fucking treaties, which they fucking should, then that would mean there'll be a whole lot of states and a whole lot of counties and local governments that also have to honor the treaties with the local indigenous people populations in their area of the neck of the woods.
Casting the song.
Sure.
Oklahoma, where the winds come sweeping up. I don't know the rest of it.
And the waving wheat can sure smell sweet when the wind comes right before the rain. Yep.
I don't know this one, so yeah, I'm gonna say out this.
Okay, Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
That's from the musical Oklahoma, not Wizard of Oz.
Speaking of wizards, there's a new Hogwarts game coming out. Hogwarts Legacy, as it were. And so, yes, J.K. Rowling is still going to get money. And Ina Fox, who's a developer of the game, has this little mini thread kind of reminding people. Now, she said, no ethical consumption on the capitalism. I agree with you, John. Perhaps there should be more no ethical production on the capitalism, blah. But she was criticizing those who say, come on, no ethical consumption on their capitalism. I'm still going to buy this Wizards games that's going to give money to a transphobe J.K. Rowling's, jackass Karen Rowling's, as it were. All right, and there's also death of the author. Yes, that's how I get jackass. Yes. Jackass Karen Rowling's, jackass Karen. That's what the J.K. stands for. And there's also there's death of the author as well, but that's still not a get out of jail free card for paying money for the Hogwarts Legacy and supporting the incredible transphobe in jackass Karen Rowling. But what was interesting, and someone else linked to her in that mini thread, is this Kotaku article about the lead designer of Hogwarts Legacy. Tor Levitt is the lead designer of the blah blah blah, the Studio Avalanche, the Discovery Project, the Hogwarts, the Harry Potter game, Hogwarts Legacy, blah blah, has ran a reactionary YouTube channel focused on attacking feminism and social justice over a year. So
you're saying that she's a good person? We should give her money? That's what I'm taking away from this.
No, this is Troy. The lead designer is Troy Levitz. It's of Hogwarts Legacy. I know I'm not saying that's John. So Troy Levitz, the lead designer for the Hogwarts Legacy game, has videos on his YouTube channel still up, titles of the injustice of social justice, in praise of cultural appropriation, and are thought crimes becoming real. He has produced lengthy videos defense of John Lasseter, the co-founder of Pixar, who has allegations of sexual misconduct. Noam Bushnell, the co-founder of Atari, who has reports of fostering a toxic work environment for women. I'm totally not surprised by that. No one of the parties that Noam Bushnell gave and ran in the 70s after the success of Pong. Basically, hot tub parties and women, probably just full sex workers, came to the hot tubs. Basically, as well. So not surprised by the toxic work culture from Noam Bushnell. And Levitz has expressed support of Gamergate, of course, saying that while it was painful at times, it's a whole good thing. Shapiro excluded middle. 12 script changes that would save The Last Jedi. That was one of his YouTube channels. Let's see.
More old bikini Leia.
Yes, that's probably it. And so so it's kind of wow, not surprised that a toxic asshole is going to make this game for a toxic asshole too. And I'm at the point and it's just like I still have some people that will say that like I can separate the art from the artist. Great, good for you. If you can do that, awesome. It's fantastic for you. I hope you enjoy Hogwarts Legacy if you had fun out of it too. I can't see myself playing it at all. I
Yeah.
I mean, for Harry Potter, I never read the books. I did see the movies, but only the first 6 movies. So I still have not seen the last 2 Harry Potter movies. It was just kind of thing where we were watching it with our family, and we just never got around to like seeing the last 2 parts of the Deathly Hallows with our father. And now at this point, I don't fucking care. I did.
I haven't seen any of them.
Yes. So it's just like. Most if I want to engage in like media based off of the franchises work, it's just like the J. cameras just can't be like supported in that thing whatsoever. So torrents or BitTorrents or piracy, that's where in a video game, in Minecraft, in Fortnite.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. What do you guys think about Kanye West and what's going on with him?
Okay, so
I think very little of Kanye West, and I don't know what's going on with him.
Yeah,
here's the thing: is
I just what I just noticed that if it was like anyone else who was like making these comments about like hurting their ex, they would have been like arrested. But because he's like a rich celebrity, people are just like, oh, okay, yeah, we can listen.
I think he should still be arrested if he's making credible threats to his like a former partner. Yes, exactly. And it was like a terrible situation. Honestly, it's not that like I feel kind of like bad for like Kim Kardashian. I think if that's like Kanye's ex as well, or one of the Kardashians. I forgot to because I don't follow this kind of celebrity culture in a way.
Yeah, the Kardashians are garbage.
But like in this situation is that they have a ex partner that is stalking them, making threats on social media, and having a following of social media too that will also just like with like any big any terrible anti-SJW content creators or other things like that. I mean, Sargon did this as well. They would the followers of Kanye West probably is also harassing like Kim Kardashian too. And so it's a terrible situation all around. As we're so I feel for Kim Kardashian for have to deal with the abuse of the stalker essentially. And it's kind of, if legal charges can be put against Kanye West for that sort of thing, which again I'm not in favor of like the criminal justice system as is right now, and this is going to happen to a black man as Kanye West too as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that consideration too. But I want like Kim Kardashian to not have to deal with the abuse that she is facing, and definitely the children should not have to deal with the abuse as well. Carcassians?
They're called. I call them Cardassians.
Yes, which is the
Because
space
you're
Nazis from
ignorant.
Deep Space. And they say that. Now, Isaiah Thomas, a blurb, a black nerd, a blurred.
Yeah,
Let's see.
who I guess are not really common.
But
Oh,
they're actually more.
they're quite common out there, I think.
Yeah, they're more common than you think, honestly, Isaiah.
Probably.
Maybe they're being more like out there and openness, where it's like, yeah, I'm black, but I'm also a nerd, so I'm blurred. Because like
More
that's
common than the
term.
bluish, black and Jewish.
Oh yeah, that's true. Speaking of which, I mentioned how I did not see the last 2 Harry Potter movies as were, and also come up in the conversation last night. I mentioned how I've never seen the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey all the way through, and the reaction to the uncle, one of my brother's friends, is like, "You had never seen 2001: Space Odyssey all the way through?" So that's kind of a question. Oh, hold on. Yeah. I'll finish this comment from Jordan B. What makes my blood boil is, well, what about the workers who work on the game? I'm like, dude, all the money is going to CEOs, not the workers, and they already got paid, and they got the royalties too. And and Intercrow Fox in that mini thread did actually point that out because like she did get like some criticism that pushback as well, and she said the workers are game developers who are generally working in appalling conditions and are often laid off when game is shipped. My older sibling worked in the video game industry and can attest to that. Yeah, and see none of the profits. Supporting unions for game developers helped them not buying bad Wizard games. Sorry. And yeah, and oh no, and speaking of which, also that Ingo Fox, she's a game developer herself, and this is the game you can buy soon on like Steam. And she is a developer. So Kasuni Games is like her company. She has developed a couple of games. She's the one that also developed the Super Bernie World game. Basically, it's like Mario 3, but with Bernie Sanders and like as like the main character, as it were. It's a tiny little
is
like
AOC also is AOC also in that game?
Maybe. I know that like it's like Mitch McConnell's a turtle, and so perfect casting there. But yeah, she was the one that developed that game. Yeah, she developed that game. It's a short game, but it's like it's basically Super Mario Bros. 3, but with the skin of like Bernie Sanders and like what's happening during the election too, 2020, the primaries are 2029. So like, yeah, so go buy her games and not like Hogwarts Legs. Swear. But speaking of which, before that, I was so yeah, I still have never seen 2001: A Space Odyssey, and people
Stanley Kubrick is a pretentious piece of shit. The movie is not that good. The book.
Okay, so
I like 2010 better.
Oh, that's interesting. That's the sequel. It's kind of my oldest brother was also surprised to hear me say that too. But that was more of the case where it's just like, okay, yeah, we rented from the movie from the video store from the for the 99 cents for 5 movies at the video 2. That was the one on VHS. So like it was probably on TV when I was like young, but I don't remember watching through all of it. So I can point to like scenes. Okay, I remember that scene. I remember that scene. I remember that scene.
You want to watch a good movie from back in the day? UHF, Weird Al Yankovic.
I love that movie. I watched that plenty. Remember, I was able to pull off some like stats about like Weird Al Yankovic, not looking at the Wikipedia article as well, because I also seen the Complete Al, which is like I think that's the name of the documentary film that was made about him in 19.
UHF.
Yes. I think the Complete Al was made in 1986 or 85, around the time when his Dare to Be Stupid album released. And hey, Groundhog 2010, how you doing? You fell into the chat. I hope you're doing okay. Or also okay, so you can be. But that's my question. It's like, what are the movies that you haven't seen that people react with? You have never seen that movie? Because like. I guess it'll be like a 2001 Space Odyssey. Oh, Citizen Kane. That's another one. I still have not seen Citizen Kane yet.
I saw it for a school project.
What do you think of it?
I mean, I like Orson Welles, so
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting.
that's about it.
I like Orson Welles. That's I guess a recommendation for
mostly because he he directed the he was the narrator for the War of the Worlds that freaked a lot of people out, that invasion thing he did on the radio.
Yep, the fake alien invasion that people thought was like seriously real. Yep. And Colin's like aliens to like come down to like space, thinking that like the Mars did actually attack Earth in a cheesy movie called like Space Invaders.
Mars
think
attacks.
that was. No, I am thinking of Space Invaders, tiny little green men in costumes and Halloween in like small town like rural America. No, that is a movie that does exist. Now, Space Invaders is a great movie too. That one's good.
I want to see I'm gonna see Spring Breakers tonight.
That's interesting. It's a 1999 movie. Hey, but this is the movie I was talking about. You can only get. I bet you can only get it on like a VHS though, since like it's not that popular. That's where. But I think the only reason we saw it though is because we happened to like rent it from like the video store, essentially. So chat, everyone, what movies that like you have not seen that's like a great classic as a word that people will say like, what, you have never seen that movie? Everyone has to see that movie. You never seen this movie?
Star
Well,
Wars. I mean, I've seen all the Star Wars, but if you haven't seen the original Star Wars movies, the original trilogy, then you're a bad person, and I judge you.
I mean, okay, so for some people, like for the live in Vietnam and all their life, and like immigrate to like USA, just like in the last decade or two, I can see how they have never seen Star Wars. Even though actually the Rebels were actually based off Viet Cong, but according to George Lucas. But then again,
yeah.
the distribution and it's American film, and so who knows if like they released it to like the Vietnamese or translated or subtitled it in like 1977, maybe later 1997 is where there's always the internet. Oh, you never seen Blade Runner? I have seen Blade Runner.
Blade Runner is a good
and
movie.
is I that thing
It's
is
a little
like
bit rapey.
also, yeah, there is that problem.
I still haven't seen it.
Is Oh, you haven't seen Good Will Hunting?
Good Will Hunting is a good movie.
I do say it's a good movie, but I wouldn't be surprised that people haven't seen it because it's like in that time period, like the late '90s, as it were. Then it was the talk of the town, as it were. It is by Miramax, so there's that. And at least Kevin Smith has like said, if I have known that was happening, because of if I've known that was happening at that time, as like I would just like no, I don't want the money, I don't want the career, I don't want the if I can just give up my movie career so that all of those women that were victims of Harvey Weinstein could like. Not have been victims as were, I would easily give up to that. I believe Kevin Smith in that.
Oh,
In that
why you got to be so homophobic and hate on Top Gun? Come on, it's the biggest gay movie.
Here's the thing: I still have never seen Top Gun. I don't need to because I've seen Hot Shots, but also I've seen the anime version of Top Gun and Macross Plus the movie. Come on, and Macross Plus the movie is, or there's also the OV Macross Plus, and it's like differences between the two of them. They're both really the plot of Top Gun, honestly. Two pilots that like get. Go ahead.
Well, I'm an airplane nerd, so I'm definitely going to watch the Top Gun sequel.
That's right. They are making a Top Gun sequel, like 25 years later, as we're.
Dun, 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 dun. I'm
trying to think of like other like you have never seen that movie. It's kind of like I don't know. There's maybe I could go.
Mean Girls. Have you ever seen Mean Girls?
I actually have not seen Mean Girls, and that's one with that people were like, "You have never seen Mean Girls?" I haven't gotten around to it. Essentially,
Die Hard.
Have you seen Clueless?
I have
Yes.
not seen Clueless. I know. Yes,
You're a 17-year-old virgin and you can't even drive.
I know you're very disappointed in me. For me not
that
watching.
was way harsh, Tay. That was way harsh.
I saw some of Top Gun and got really bored and stopped watching it and did something else. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Top Gun, not a good movie, but full of pretty men playing volleyball.
Very gay, yes, very homoerotic, as in for most movies in the 80s, honestly.
Oh my God.
Basically the 80s was the decade of secretly gay.
Most action movies in the 80s and 90s were just extremely like dudes with guns. Like it's crazy.
Proving their manliness, like that muscle arm handshake in like in Predator. What's
was
wrong?
It Predator or was that Commando?
No. The arm
Predator.
shake. The muscle arm handshake was in Predator. Pushing too many pencils, but like Commando has a lot of like cheesy like lines from like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yes, I'm trying to think of what it was like. Oh man, no. Pipe down or something like that? No. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. What movies I haven't? I have seen Die Hard. Die Hard is a great movie. I have also seen Die Hard 2, which is okay. Not as great as the first one. Die Hard with Avengers was actually like pretty good too. I'm not interested in seeing the fourth Die Hard movie, the PG-13 one. I've never seen Princess Bride, but alongside Blade Runner, I have been meaning to watch it for a year. Okay, now That's kind of interesting. Yeah, you have never seen Princess Bride because like that's one is one of those ones. There's like it seems like everyone has seen it, but as I said last night on Necronomicon's channel, there's no such thing as everyone. If
Have you
you,
seen Grease?
I have not seen Grease
I've
actually.
seen parts of Greece. I may have actually seen it all the way through. I don't know.
And that's the thing. It's like if you did see something, but then forgot that you see something, or it's like not until like years later, it's like, oh yeah, I did see that. Then it's like that was a good movie. If you can't remember, you watch it.
Have you seen E.T.?
Oh yes.
I have, but only in German. It was in my German class. That's how I saw it.
99 Luftballon.
I didn't have that album. I didn't have that record. But I had my Rammstein album there. I failed to bring that to like my German class, the Rammstein album. Rammstein.
Schöne Schlichterschein macht der Waschestein Hobes, sich 99 Luftballons.
Let's see. We're trying to think of like other movies that like everyone's. I actually have like seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind though. I did see that movie.
Okay.
As I was on
Star
TV.
Wars.
Oh, of course I've seen Star Wars. Yes, I have seen all. I have not seen all of the Star Trek movies. I haven't seen Star Trek Into Darkness, the Seven Kelvinverse movie.
Star Trek.
That one
I like
was
Star
okay.
Trek motion picture.
I have
I like
seen
Star Trek motion. No, but I was saying like I like Star Trek motion picture because it reminds me of porn.
There was a section actually. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah, no,
I could definitely see it with me and my autistic wife in bed, and I'm high on pot, and, watching Star Trek 1.
That might be a good movie to watch while high. Yeah, exactly. This still have to be in a safe environment though, as well, because like I don't at least with like weed, there's not a chance to get a bad trip and so because if you do it like acid or like mushrooms, from what I heard from other people, I still actually not done acid or mushrooms before. If you're on a bad trip, Star Trek the motion picture may not be the best thing to watch on a bad trip though. But there's a lot of boring
Right.
parts. Okay, it's understandable that you're behind a lot of Pixar films because, like, yeah, granted there are a lot of great ones, but like, not all of the ones that have been released have been like fantastic as were. And same with like any of the Disney animated ones as well. They just like
Have you watched Toy Story?
I have. I've seen the first 3 Toy Stories. I have not seen the 4th Toy Story movie, so
Don't waste your time. Iron Giant.
I love Iron Giant. That one's a good movie.
Lilo and Stitch.
I have not seen Lilo and Stitch.
I have not
actually.
seen it.
Say Groundhog says I have only watched 3 Studio Ghibli movies: Poco Rosso, Graves of Fire, Spirited Away. But I watched the last one only a few years ago.
I don't think I've seen any Studio Ghibli films.
I will say
Mulan.
I have seen Mulan. Yes,
That's Disney.
Yes, which is Disney. Yes, but I would mention that earlier as well as Disney animated movies. Well, Groundhog. Those are 3 great films from Studio Ghibli. I watched Akira and every Satoshi Kon film, The Ghost in the Shell, before any. No. That I agree. I'm with you on that one, Groundhog. Akira, it's a weird movie, but a great movie. Every Satoshi Kon film, fantastic fucking movies. That's why in my Twitch channel I have like Satoshi Kon like gifts as like one my alerts. And the 1995 Mamoru Oshii classic Ghost in the Shell. Yes, I love that movie too as well. Even though the Ghost in the Shell franchise has got the cops that are the main characters in Section 9, so it's like I separate that from my current politics as well. Then again, the recent Ghost in the Shell series on Netflix, this is the CGI one, I only watched like the first half of the first episode, and it's just like, why are those radicals the bad guys? I think I identify with them. I identify with them politically. I don't want to like root against the good guys. Oh well. That's okay if you've never seen Akira. It's gory, so it's violent. So some people that can't handle the gore, that's because it's like, wow, that was like graphic. Again, talk about a bad trip too, and weird movie, absolutely weird movie. So it's not everyone's bag. So yeah, I watch every Star Trek film and TV shows. Yes, I'm a Trekkie. Okay, there you go. Um,
Too bad. What's his nuts? The guy who came up with Star Trek was such a shitbird.
Gene
Gene
Roddenberry,
Yes.
Roddenberry.
the guy who won't have
Yeah,
orgies on the show,
apparently he cheated on his wife a lot.
Oh yeah.
and not
It's
surprised.
all kinds of
And
crazy
was abusive
shit.
and misogynistic.
Oh yes, just like oh his opinions on women as it were. I mean, it's like yes, kudos for having Uhura on the set as it were in
Mhm.
prominent role and that sort of things. Yes, he gets it should get credit for that as well. Still doesn't mean he can't be a piece of shit for like treating women badly. And I think that was later on after his divorce as it were, which is like
Well,
okay.
that was part of what caused his divorce.
Mhm. Oh, okay, so there you go. Never
Jesse
up all
Gender
the way through.
on YouTube did a really great long video about the sexual politics of Gene Roddenberry and how he was a mixed bag.
Yes, a mixed bag. That's a great way to say it. Up is a good movie. Groundhog. It's inconsistent at times. Akira, the car that cares.
Akira's a motorcycle, not a car. God.
Uh, mm. So what other topics like mentioned? Okay, so
But I gotta run, guys. But I'll see you guys later.
okay,
See, as I
that's always fun talking
All
to
right.
you. All right,
You
so.
too. See you next week.
And other bit of news. It's slightly old news, but like it's still like some news. So the Forbes article says that like Biden is going to forgive. Let's see, what is the total?
$5 in student loan debt.
Actually, kind of like pretty much about like $6.2 billion in student loan debt. However, in order to qualify, let me it's actually in the article itself, so it's just like how to get this student loan forgiveness. The public service form forgiveness cancels federal student loans, so it has to be federal, if you meet several requirements. For example, you must work full-time from or for a eligible public service or nonprofit employer. Wait, so only public service or nonprofits? So most people who are working for private and like employees probably don't count. Enroll in an income-driven repayment plan and must have at least 120 monthly student loan payments.
So 120 months would be 10 years.
Yes.
Awesome.
After meeting several eligibility requirements, the remaining balance of your federal loans will be forgiven. To count prior student loans payments that will be deemed ineligible, you can complete a limited waiver for student loan forgiveness, which is available through the U.S. Department of Education. This limited waiver is available through October 31st, 2022. This limited waiver would allow you to count previous payments to help you meet the 120 monthly payments required. Make sure to submit to a employer certification to the education department annually each time you change employers. So you're going to have to there's a lot of steps you have to follow. Yes.
Let's see if I can find. There's one person I can think of who everyone should be on board with getting students' debts just completely canceled. Let's see if I can find her. This is going to take a while, so you should keep talking.
Okay. Okay. I just realized that like I didn't finish like sharing the stream to like all the places and all my Discord servers. So it's like they're gonna have to like you can catch the rerun of it as it were.
Britt
Marie
Hermes.
Mm-hmm.
She was a former naturopath. She believed that she was doing actual medical stuff. Then she found out that her profession is a complete fraud and that she was guilty of basically like horrific medical malpractice and scamming people. She had like the worst weekend of her life when she realized that she was peddling not medicine to people and that she might be guilty of a crime. She has been dubbed a whistleblower in the naturopathic profession and a naturopathic apostate. And now she lives in Germany. with her husband, and she can basically never return to the U.S. because of six-figure student loan debt that she will never be able to repay.
So someone like a look at all of those like hoops that one has to jump through in order to get like a forgiveness, as whereas it says like it's ridiculous mean testing BS that most people that will only help those that are most able to navigate the system and make regular payments without resorting to deferment. So the Biden administration is picking, choosing of who is deserving of student loan forgiveness. It's not good news. It's just more of the same grandstanding BS that's meant to make white liberals feel like some good is being done while the greater crisis is remaining and continues to harm. It's just like it's just like and people the liberals they will point to that sort of thing and that kind of thing. It's like, see, Biden is doing good as it were, but just like if you just like you have to look closely at it and see, it's just like it's just more grandstanding, more like fluff pieces to be have the articles to be printed about him. It's not really going to like do anything forgiveness. Now, to be fair, also to Biden, he never campaigned that he was going to forgive student loans, as it were. He never campaigned on that. He never made that promise, as it were. So I was like, I'm not surprised that like this was the meal mouth Nick Toast kind of like resolution we get from Biden, as it were. Very liberal of him to do so, conservative as well for him to do so. It's not like only certain people can like get it because
I agree, Limpy. We definitely should bring back Year of Jubilee. Like every 50 years, cancel out debts, let the capitalists go bitch about it.
Yes, exactly. I agree. Fully, absolutely. Catching up with chat. David, the only closest thing you ever seen as anime is Avatar. Is that the Avatar: The Last Airbender or James Cameron's Avatar? It only technically works for a eligible non-for-profit and also are a contractor, but probably doesn't count as well. Oh, you haven't seen the Avatar movie either. It's the movie as well. And hello, Emily Chambers, welcome. And wait, Gene has some like sexual assault allegations here for a second. I can't believe that.
Yeoman Rand, the woman who played Yeoman Rand, did not name him as the guy who assaulted her, but reading between the lines, it seems pretty clear.
That honestly doesn't surprise me, as we're I absolutely embrace like the old tradition of Death Jubilees, which is what David Graybird recommended in Death the First 5,000 Years, which I know Limpy has read as well. And like there is the audiobook for Death 5,000 Years, First 5,000 Years is available on YouTube, as it were, just saying. As well, I found the audiobook of Dawn to Everything on YouTube as well. Search for Dawn to Everything audiobook. We'll just say that.
I am putting a link in the chat for Jesse Gender's video on sex in Star Trek, exploring Gene Roddenberry's sexual frontier. Note, it is 2 hours and 44 minutes. It is a comprehensive history of sex and sexuality in Star Trek, and it includes the allegations.
Oh yeah, the David Scott. That movie is absolute trash. I have not seen that movie, despite being a fan of like Avatar: The Last Airbender, as it were. So I'm totally don't need to see The Last Airbender. That movie, it's like So like M. Night Shyamalan. Okay, I see what you're trying to do. Just like take a full season of storylines, subplots, characters, and condense it down to like 140 minutes, hour and 40 minutes movie.
Not really possible.
Yeah, it's not really possible. You can technically make that work, but it won't be an entertaining movie because all the characters we have for dialogue is just like a position. There's no characterization whatsoever that they can do. None of the humor that's in the show, none of the jokes that is in the show. In order to like tell that story, like you have to really like cut things out in order to like keep it to like a arc of like one movie length. That's where.
Elden Ring, isn't that one of those games that's just you go out and you fight one creature at a time, and it's very, very difficult sort of game? Elden Ring is from Software, developer of Dark Souls and like Demon Souls and like Bloodborne and something like that. So it's like Elden Ring is like there's more open Souls-like.
world. Yes, it's Souls-like. Well, it's from Software itself, as where. So it's like they're the guys who like created the Souls kind of game, as where. And so, yeah, it's people are loving it. Oh, also George R. R. Martin wrote the backstory, the story lore
Hmm.
for Elden Ring too. So yeah, and people love the lore in the Dark Souls because like the game never explicitly tells you a lot of those things. You have to like find these rings and find these things and find these things and to like actually read the item descriptions to find the lore as it were. Fortunately, other games that took that to mean is like, oh, we don't have to write story as well because the players will fill in the blanks themselves. And for many other people, it's just like a not an enjoyable narrative. Um,
I like Jedi Fallen Order.
okay, yeah, I
That's a
heard good
Souls-like
things.
game, but it is. I really enjoyed it.
I need to play Code Vines, the anime Souls like game because I
Mm.
have it as it were, and I heard the good things about it. Like I have like Dark Souls, but the Prepare to Die edition on Steam, so like the before the remake and remaster, which you can't get now. Well, we can't. No, you can get the remaster for sure, but you can't get the original version, which is like, it's like not that big a deal because there's still the version of it is available, and plus it's the internet. You can easily find the Prepare to Die edition if you really want that version of the game, the old version of the game. But it's like there's a time where it's like it's challenging, and my friend of like Brown Hog and Limpy as well, Sarah Britt, they were streaming Dark Souls 3 because every Saturdays they do they're continuing playing a narrative game until completion as it were, and it's like the audience can like pick the game for them to play. But they eventually just stopped playing Dark Souls 3 because it was just like the game was not respecting their time because they're up against a boss that they died essentially, and even someone who like loves that game has to like say no, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to upgrade your weapons, you have to like grind it. But like it results, it means like okay, either they have to like get good at Dark Souls 3, so spend a lot of time playing it to get good, or grind a lot to upgrade their stats by small amounts each time, and then grind more to get more small increments, or upgrade their weapons to get good to like a certain amount. So again, spend a lot of time to in order
Hmm.
to improve your character to like beat this one boss. And they just like decided like, no, this game is not respecting my time. So if it decides to want to waste my time, I'm just done with this game. And so they switched to like play a different game on stream actually, and they were continuing playing the other game as well. And that's so the kind of the problems with the Dark Souls. And and I agree, David Scott. Honestly, it's and some people have like gone back and forth on the discourse about like Dark Souls should have an easy mode, and some people say no, there's the easy mode. You just have to play this class, the character as it were, or you play this style as it were. But when the game doesn't tell you that, I'm fine with people saying that like no, it should have an easy mode, and like there's not, and many people who even people who love like Elden Ring or the Dark Souls games or the Souls like games or the Front Software games agree that like there's nothing that will diminish that game if there's an easy mode on it for other
Hmm.
players to enjoy, because that's the kind of thing about video games as a whole is that it's the one medium that where you need a certain level of skills in order to get the complete narrative, to experience the complete narrative. A book you just need to read, a movie you just have to watch it, or a TV show, and all that sort of things. But a video game, you actually need skills in order to get to complete in some of those video games,
Hmm.
some more than others, of course. Um, so I can, which is why also people enjoy watching streamers stream the game or let's plays of it, because that way they can
Hmm.
experience the game without having to have like the like quick time reactions as it were,
Like
in
me,
order to play
my
the game.
autistic ass, I can never play as a sniper. Not really. In
Mm-hmm.
like in FPSs, that's just I lack the ability to do that, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not something I can do.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, so and some people would say that flat out that like the Dark Souls choices, and there are choices of where with the standard meters and like they have the combat, the risk reward kind of like things in the combat is just poor design choice. Is where because like it's only for like certain numbers of the end users that will be able to enjoy it as it were, and it thinking of like the people who hate who said like no, Dark Souls should not have an easy mode because if there's easy mode it would diminish the game and something like that.
Yeah, go
Those are
fuck
the
yourself, those guys. Those guys can fuck
yes,
off.
exactly. Yes, exactly. Because those are the elitist assholes that wanted the games only for themselves, only for the skilled gamers that are deserving.
Those are the assholes who complained about the story mode in Mass Effect 3.
Yes. Oh yeah. And that's the thing too. Is like, yeah, absolutely. Just have a story mode. It's where there was in fact, like a very old, a Game Overthinker video that like, I have my disagreements with Bob now because like he's a liberal. But like, oh, he said some things just like, movie Bob, that sounds like eugenics. Just ease off of that. Yeah, there's some takes I don't agree with movie Bob on. I swear. And, like he's totally okay with people being millionaires if they like invented a jetpack rocket pack or like create direct an incredible movie like E.T. and something like that, or those of these other things. It's just like no, movie Bob. Then you're a liberal capitalist ass over there anyway. But in an old Game Overthinker video, he mentioned how there was a pattern of like where the game will play itself essentially, but instead, so well with like story mode, you as the characters, the player still has to like control the characters to move here, and there are some games that like are not great at telling you where you have to go. Not necessarily like a Mass Effect 3, but like another older JRPGs, as it were, you can easily get lost in some of those like the JRPGs, Final Fantasy, even some of the Dragon Quest games, Breath of Fire, the first one, as it were. Or other times it's like no, they really do like point it out to you, give you the name, and like highlight these sort of things. And like say you go here, or you can or the only path available to you is only right here, which is like actually something that like Groundhog and I were talking about last night on my stream, about like speaking of Elden Ring and the open world sort of thing, about that sort of thing. It's like open world, the true open world, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because if you have an open world, you can just be, you have to like nothing's to scale. So like you go here, and like all the enemies can be easy. And then like later on in the game, unless all the enemies as a whole scale upwards with your ability, then it'll be super easy and be a cakewalk. And later in the game, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, which this game I still want to replay, even though it has its issues. But also like you could just like, you could be like lost where to go next, or be totally distracted by side quests and not focus on like the main storyline, which is why I personally don't mind like linear games, as we're just like okay, go here next, you go here next, you go here next, you go here next. Yeah, Limpy, liberals advocating for eugenics is surprising me. For movie Bob, and yes, the cat is really cute. That's Sasha. That's why John Brockman always makes sure to put the camera on the cat whenever he can do so. Is someone like a movie Bob's like comments where it's just like he absolutely hates Trump supporters with passion. Of course, typical like liberal sort of thing. But some of his things he said is like almost like they should not exist at all, or something like that, or so basically. Sometimes like I haven't seen and I haven't followed Movie Bob honestly that much, but I think Movie Bob will be one of those people who is good for like something terrible happening to like Texas or like places in the deep south of work because of their politics.
Remember, there are more Democrats in Texas than in Maryland.
Yes, because of how vastly big Texas is, but Texas specifically, well, in other places, has been so engineeredly designed to be a Republican stronghold because of like gerrymandering and all that. Sasha, no,
and voter suppression.
Yep, and voter suppression, absolutely. So while a representative in Houston can like love to represent Houston and like her district as it were, because of Texas anti-women laws and the abortion laws and the anti-gay laws. No, it's like Florida that has the anti-gay laws that don't say gay.
Florida says don't say gay. Texas says that helping your child is now child abuse. If that child is
exactly.
Trans.
Yes, and so it's like so many Democrat senators and Congresspeople in like Florida and Texas that represent the cities, as we're again as always. When you're in urban areas, cities, as were, you're living with many different like kinds of people from many different walks of life, you don't tend to have like bigoted views against those people because you can hang around a trans person, you met a gay person, you've seen black people as it were. So you don't have those like bigoted views. But when you're in rural places, or suburbs, or far away from every other people, yeah, you're gonna. It's typically it is where you just have those bigoted views of like foreigners or like or I was about to say invaders, but like they view immigrants as invaders. Yes, some of them do, quite a few of them. But yeah, so I don't know how Florida is going to turn blue either. But because I think the Republicans have like took control of that state as well. I just know that Texas is probably never going to go blue in our lifetimes, at least, with how the way the things are, and how voter rights are also not passed federally on the federal level as well. Politics. Let me see. Okay, one quick little thing, a kind of like news story to like any of us is like, well, not fucking surprising. Market Insider, so take that source as it is, says that like crypto isn't
No, white people
decentralized.
are the only real people, Lin P. They're not invaders. God.
Yes, you're joking about that. Yeah. So yeah, cryptocurrency. The world of crypto relies on centralized entities and low paid workers. One critic says, not surprising. The market has a colonialist mindset, focused on planting flags and making money. Not surprising. And crypto aims to be decentralized, but the market is already re-centralized because the biggest buyers of like crypto and like NFTs are the ones that control the market as well. Not surprising. Hi, capitalism.
Wow, crypto is a scam. I am shocked.
Yeah. Yeah, so this like a little article from Market Insider. It's like pulling quotes from like Catherine Flick, who's always been in like a critic of like these sort of like things, like a Web3 is like that, and mentions Dan Olson's like a video as well of like one of the things that he says. So it's just like to us, it's just like, yeah, not surprising at all. Because when you got like rich people that control markets, or like there's like one group that like own two of the biggest like things and like crypto of like NFTs and like one of the currencies, and so it's kind of like, yeah, the capitalism, when the powers that be focused in a small number of hands, they're the ones that are going to be the ones that like have the power over everything. So yeah. Let's see, what did I advertise that we were going to like talk about as we're, because okay, mention crypto, mention that topic. Okay, good. Now we can just like go on to like talk about whatever's one to talk about and whatever comes to mind. I don't think I actually finished advertising this is like streaming all the places. Honestly, damn it. So distracted and disoriented this morning. How you been?
I've been okay. Got spring break this week, so I plan on relaxing so hard.
Nice. Kind of like me. That's, you know what? I can't probably actually mention this because I mentioned sort of like on like a Twitch stream. So work's going to be interesting.
I can no longer hear you, Geek. What happened? Let's see. Okay, that. There. Now I can hear you.
Okay, never mind. I'll type in the chat again. Never mind. Technology, wonderful. So
my internet connection is unstable. Awesome.
Oh, that's probably what. Yeah. Okay. It looks like the stream is still like there, so maybe there'll be like a stutter, skip there, a lag, but like the connection is still there, so like we're still maintaining it. So I was like mentioning on my Twitch channel. Yeah, I've started streaming again on Twitch because like might as well stream whenever I can and whenever if I want to, and because I might be working overtime at work, but not in the stock room. I can determine if I have to work overtime or not. I was like decided not to yesterday, honestly, because I will do the work Monday when I come in. However, it's a glitch in the matrix. Hey, Marty, how you doing?
I am most of the way through the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm up to July of 2019.
Oh, any standouts that you're thinking like, oh no, that was an excellent movie, still is, or what? Any ones you're just like, I like at the time,
The
but I don't
Netflix
like as
TV
much.
shows were good.
Hmm. Except for
Uh,
Iron Fist, even Iron Fist.
Season 1 of Iron Fist was pretty weak.
Okay,
not
because
not
that was
great
the one that
television.
was not good.
Season 2 was better, but still not
Oh,
great.
season 2 of Iron Fist. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting.
I could
Uh,
see what they were going for, but it just didn't really work. Iron Fist.
hmm. Yeah, I was planning to skip the first season of Iron Fist too. I've heard Defenders was not that good as well. So,
It was a little bit messy, but yeah.
no, okay.
But
Um,
whatchamacallit, Daredevil, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones, all top notch.
hmm. I didn't like the second season of Daredevil as much, but I liked
No,
it
it
enough
was
to
kind of
like
a mess
enjoy
there
it.
too. Yeah. Oh, and also
Yeah.
Punisher. Punisher is complicated.
Yeah, that's right. They did like a season of Punisher, didn't they?
2 seasons.
2 seasons. Oh, I did not see any of them. As well, I like that characterization of Punisher though,
Mm-hmm.
as well, because like no, that's a terrible person. That's a broken person. He's just
Mm-hmm.
like it's yeah. This he kind of
Any
like
cop
does
with a Punisher symbol logo is a bad person.
yeah, and misappropriate the
For a
Punisher
cop, they're
symbol
bad
too.
for a cop.
Yes, for a cop, they're bad. Yes. It reminds me of like one of my bus drivers has like the Blue Lives Matter like t-shirt on it, like the thin blue line America shirt,
Mm.
as a mask, as a like a bandana mask, as it were. And it's just like, oh, again, I resist the urge to talk to that person because I just like tap my card on the bus and go on and sit on my ass on the bus to go to work. Um, yeah, it's like let's see.
WandaVision has a problematic premise,
Okay, yeah,
with Wanda essentially kidnapping an entire town, and we're
yeah.
supposed to see her as the good guy.
That's a good point, John Jumpy. I have a hard time liking Iron Fist, just another rich guy like superhero. I
Mm.
mean, I still
I
have
mean,
to
the
remember
first
that
season
about.
is him getting his company back and becoming wealthy again.
Oh, I see. No,
And
that'll be
also,
difficult.
the Hand are there, so okay.
Oh, yeah, that's a part of like that show. Yeah. Let's see. I also let's see. I was like mentioning this as well that like uh it's okay. So, will I be working overtime or not? It really depends. But like the problem is that, like they need overtime not in the stockroom, but in the specific area of like the assembly department for a station or task I used to be able to do, but don't do anymore. And and it's kind of like even like on Friday, my manager asked me if I could come in on Saturday to run the pick and place machine on this one job, as it were. And I'm going like, it's been 6 years, or no, it's been like 8 years since I worked in the assembly department on those machines. I don't remember how to like run those machines, and so someone has to like be there to set up the machines in order to like be able for me to like run the machines and then I do the job that you need me to do. You can't. I don't know the first thing about what I need to do like set up machines and then run the machines and then like be able to like run that job that you need to be done. So it's that weird kind of situation where it's like, okay, you want me to do overtime, great, but you have to like train me again to how to run that machine. And that's the only possibility if I am going to be like working overtime or not. But yes, but I might. It's all like for me. I probably am going to just like David play
Play
Freebird.
Freebird. Play Wonderwall.
Yeah, old billionaire superheroes. Yeah, it's just like I still enjoy Batman a lot, but it's just like yeah, the Bruce Wayne's still a billionaire.
Mhm.
All billionaires are bad. All landlords are bad. It's not like a hot take. Shouldn't be.
Yeah, Jordan Doe P. That was a big problem with Iron Fist. Goes all the way back to the origin of the character, back when Nixon went to China, and therefore we got us this yellow fever here in the U.S.
Mhm.
Everybody was kung fu fighting, and so we go ahead and turn all the white guys into kung fu martial artist experts with mysticism and
American Ninja.
Mhm. So
Yep, it's just like it comes to appropriation. I think that's what I heard about that too. I mean, also
Mm.
it's like I did not know about like the character of the Mandarin from like the Iron Man comics, and I didn't know
Mm.
about like how so I wasn't familiar with like that character whatsoever, and so hearing and some people say it's like, oh, this is going to be really problematic, and it's like, okay, I gotta say now with the Mandarin of how it's problematic it is. It's a terrible trope and stereotype of like Asian
Mm.
people as it were, but how they did it in Iron Man 3 was fucking fantastic. I loved it. It was just like
Where they
I
bring
was like,
in, a half Asian actor, Ben Kingsley, to pretend to be the Mandarin. It was pretty awesome.
they kept that a secret also throughout the whole thing too,
Hmm.
throughout the whole production. It's where we just like know he's in there, but that twist wasn't until like most of us at the honest saw it. But it was like it was brilliant for like that movie.
The original Mandarin was just a stereotypical Asian threat.
Yeah, exactly. um
All the stereotype, all the racial bullshit going into that.
okay, quick news item that I want to mention since like
Well done, Marty. Assigned billionaire at birth.
Yes. I say that all the time too. ACAB is an old cops are beautiful and old cops are bastards, but not assigned cop at birth. And someone actually did like actually took a drawing of like, hey, what is it? It's a boy or a girl? It's a cop. And it's a little baby with a cop hat and uniform on it.
It came out of the womb. The first thing he did was assault a black man.
Yep, exactly. A little bit of news from Democracy Now, because I mentioned like this was mentioned before with that like federal court ruled that like no, not Abba, David, shut up. But I'll forgive you. You're Swedish, so like it makes sense why you would like speak of like a national like a national treasure in Sweden. ABBA. So there was like, so there was Biden that was like going to sign like a oil, at least to oil drill in the Gulf of Mexico. There was a judge that blocked that though, saying that like that and Biden administration has to consider the social cost of carbon as well. A federal appeals court ruled the Biden administration can factor into the cost of climate crisis into political decisions. Decisions states ruling from a lower court, which banned the administration from considering what is referred to as the social cost of carbon. It could affect the upcoming decisions on oil and gas drilling leases and regulatory practices. Okay, so I'm not, you know what? Okay, I'm reading this again. I'm not sure if this is a good thing or a bad thing, as it were. Where it's like, but it has to consider the social cost of like a cost of carbon, or doesn't have to. It's like, you know what? Okay, but we'll have to like look into this further. It's a short little headline for Democracy Now. So it's
This
just like,
is a good thing
yes,
because it allows the Biden administration to factor in, costs like that, which it is something that does need to happen, but which
mm-hmm.
the lower court had said it wasn't allowed to do that, which is strange. But this
Mm-hmm.
going to the Supreme Court will be, I mean,
Yeah.
the picture, the image there in the article is highly appropriate because this is one of those cases that will allow the courts to eliminate what's known as Chevron deference.
Oh yeah.
Chevron deference is essentially the courts defer to the decision of the executive agency that has been granted authority by Congress to do something, and the court says the agency's judgment, its ruling, its practices should be given preference. And that is
Mm-hmm.
something that the far right wants to eliminate because they want to give all the power to the courts. So, because the courts are something that they control, it's inherently an incredibly conservative thing in and of itself. So, they have been gunning for that for quite some time.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I think. Okay, this is another tiny piece of news that I want to mention. Again, another highlight from Democracy Now. About Honduras as well. Honduras will extradite the ex-president Orlando Hernandez to the U.S. to face drug charges as well. Uh,
Wait,
so okay,
he didn't sound like a member of the CIA.
It's kind of weird, but like this guy who's the ex-president, because like Honduras recently had elections, and like it was the leftists that like won the elections, or like the social progressive person won the election. So get there. Hopefully we won't invade that country, just like we hopefully won't invade Colombia or Chile or Bolivia again, because like that's what we have done recently. Speaking of the ex-president, one Orlando Hernandez, we put him into power in 2009. The the Obama administration, as were. But what he said was kind of interesting. So so the judge in Honduras has granted the extradition of the former president, Juan Orlando Hernandez, to the United States on drug trafficking and firearms charges. Again, working for the CIA. But like, we're not going to put the CIA on Charo. No, the CIA is like free of that. Anyway, Hernandez is a longtime U.S. ally who ended his president term less than 2 months ago, and he's also accused of accepting millions of dollars in bribes to shield drug traffickers from the law. In a court filing, witnesses say the ex-president said he wanted to shove cocaine right up the noses of the gringos.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, that's why they're doing it. He was selling drugs to white people. That's the problem. Okay.
Oh yeah, yes, exactly.
Remember the crack epidemic that hit the U.S. so hard in the early '80s. It was so detrimental to the black community that conspiracy theories started to pop up that they were being deliberately targeted by the U.S. government. And it turned out they were. The CIA was doing that.
Also that can fund the Iran Contra, another like operations like that.
That's something that the Punisher got right. The first season of Punisher was all about taking down a corrupt member of the CIA who was trafficking drugs in order to fund his programs.
Yep, and of course, like it's just like the U.S. government doing so much bad in that regards, and again, like the CIA can, like I mentioned last week, the CIA can have black sites where they can just torture people, and you're not like subject to the court of law, and then can this sort of time.
Sasha, I know you want me to put my hand up on the desk so that you can attack me from behind my computer monitor, but I'm not going to do it. Let's see. There you go.
Okay, yeah. Yep, we can see Sasha. So there's so many angles of Cat right now.
And he definitely wants to attack me.
I finished out the topics as were only like a couple of minor things that we can like we don't have to like mention.
Right, I was like trying to find. God, I got so many windows open. Okay, there's that, and I was at Right Wing Watch to see if there was anything interesting there. But doesn't look like there's anything particularly. Whoop, what are you doing? Okay.
Yeah, just gonna get a quick once over to like my news sites, which unfortunately is like Google News and like Facebook News. But like, hey, I managed to find some things there. And then our socialism had like an article about like the National Security Defense Council of like Ukraine banning like number of like socialists and general leftist parties, which honestly
GOP candidate Heidi St. John hopes to see the equivalent of the Nuremberg trials over COVID-19 vaccines. These people are moral monsters.
Yes. I wonder how much of them are aware that they're just like trying to like create headlines and like grab attention, as it were, like the congresswoman from Georgia, or they actually do believe that sort of thing, or it's the base believes that, so they're going to drum support for it and saying, "Look, I'm out for you. We got to do something about these vaccines," or how much they actually believe that. It's so hard to tell. But kind of like with
some of them are clearly just grifters. They don't believe any of it. I'm thinking, like Cawthorn and Gates are just grifters. But some of them, I think, really believe it. Like Biebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene are just complete clowns, and they actually believe their bullshit.
yeah. So it's like saying in chat, yeah. Shamadan has not been charged at all of for anything, just suspicion of connections with terrorists, and he's been tortured at Guantanamo Bay for like decades, as it were. And but
And
his,
other CIA black sites.
yep, and other CIA backslays, but like the torturers of him is not going to get punished because like the U.S. government can do that.
During his time in CIA custody, Zubaydah was extensively interrogated. He was waterboarded 83 times and subjected to numerous other torture techniques, including forced nudity, sleep deprivation, confinement in small dark boxes, deprivation of solid food, stress positions, and physical assaults.
And torture doesn't work as like a way to get information because like the information
They'll say
you get
whatever it
from,
takes to get the dead. Yeah.
yes, and so
Zubaydah,
like it's
videotapes
Go
of some
ahead.
of Zubaydah's interrogations are among those destroyed by the CIA in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a man who has been held in tortured in U.S. custody for more than 15 years. For 20 years, in fact. He was captured in March of 2002. So this is, his this is an anniversary for him. Half his adult
Yep.
life has been spent in U.S. prison. That's awesome.
Yep. America, and even like and when like it was decided that like no, torture is good and like torture is legal and we have the legal rights to do torture in a Supreme Court decision, as were I think it was like Anthony Scalia, that bastard. Good thing he's dead. His graveyard can be used as a gender his graveyard is also a gender neutral bathroom. I think he cited the TV show 24 of the effectiveness of torture. Yeah.
That motherfucker ruled that the U.S. Constitution only prohibits punishments that are simultaneously cruel and unusual, and that would have been thought so by the founders themselves.
Yeah, he was
Because
like,
he is a complete piece of shit. I'm glad he's dead.
yeah, he and like Clarence Thomas are like probably the many of the judges now actually that are part of the Federalist Societies that are the like constitutional absolutists, as were.
The originalists, which is just
Yes, that's-
sock puppet theater using the corpses of the founding fathers to make up whatever bullshit you want.
Yep. Torture's bad, people. Okay, just like states are bad, people. Okay.
Giving people any sort of power over other people is a bad thing.
Yes, absolutely. We are at the 93-minute mark for the stream, I think.
Yes.
So I'm ready to call it good for now because
yes, we
any-
have been talking at each other for quite some time now.
yes, exactly, effectively. So any other final points before we go on to the pitches?
Oh, Trump promoted the guy who charged. Awesome. Yeah, let's put a torturer in charge of the CIA. That is very.
I bet he's still in charge of the CIA though, because why would Biden change someone else?
Haspel, not Haskell. Haspel, Gina Haspel. Oh, and of course she has two middle names. She's the whitest of white. Gina Sherry Walker Haspel. That might actually be her maiden name. I don't know.
Doesn't look like that she's currently the director of the CIA. I'd have to look at the current director of the CIA. But it's just like Trump, way to be terrible.
She also served under Obama as the director of the National Clandestine Service. Awesome.
The rotating doors.
Yep.
Okay, the current director of the CIA is like someone else. Yeah.
If I were president, I would just say everything the CIA has ever done is now declassified. Journalists, go camp yourselves inside their offices and look at whatever you want.
Have at it. Yeah, I'm all for that. Yes. There'll be so many books written about those sort of things. Yep. Because some of the things we know now that they did, like spreading drugs and acid and firing it out of the back of a pickup truck in like the 60s, I think, and a predominantly poor income, like i.e., black and Hispanic neighborhoods. I shouldn't put the quotations around that. No, black and Hispanic neighborhoods in New York. It's kind of like that sounds like a great time if it weren't for the racism in that.
The 70s. When everyone thought Nixon was good. Remember, he was the most popular president ever in U.S. history before Reagan. I mean,
Yeah.
he almost won every single electoral college vote. I mean, that is how
Yeah.
ridiculous he was.
Yes.
White America fucking loved him.
Is a complicated guy, terrible asshole, absolutely. But he did create the EPA, which just shows
The Republicans were very different back then.
Yes, they were. I mean, again, Watergate. He feels like the country would go to shit if like a Democrat got won, and so he had like cheated things out of it. And so that's
he was a narcissist. He was a white supremacist. He was awful in a lot of ways, but he was the sort of white supremacist who thought he should do things to help white people, which incidentally might also help other people. Hence the EPA. He's not like modern white supremacists who only want to hurt people.
I think that's a good thing. That's the difference. That's the word. That like the current Republicans and fascists and white supremacists just want to actively hurt people.
Yes, that is so weird to compare the modern Republican Party to the KKK of the 1960s, and the Republicans come out worse. All right.
Want to know the end and on. So I'm Summer Running Geek on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Links are down below in the description as well. Easy to find Summer Running Geek. Isaiah Taylor
CharityLinks.page.
Charity links up page, also in the description. Isaiah Taylor has his own YouTube channel, Sinister Intelligence, as it were. He has like 86 subscribers now and like 26 videos. So do check them out. The link should be in the description as well for Sinister Intelligence as well. And then John Brockman, and you are part of another podcast.
I am indeed Dungeons and Debacles. We are playing a D&D game. Uh-oh, cat is stretching. No, he's looking. Okay. Dungeons and Debacles. Heck of a lot of fun. Very different from this.
CIA, criminal imperialist assholes. Brilliant,
Yes.
Jordan Drum P. I'm tweeting that out. I'll credit you, though, if I tweeted that out. So, practice self-care, hydrate, medicate.
Masturbate.
Take care of yourselves, and stay awesome, my friends.